Hello and welcome to the Kevin Lankinen Show, where the Chicago Blackhawks tonight defeated the Florida Panthers by a score of 3-0. But before we get to the review, if you could do me a really big favor and hit the like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, helps us out a lot. Also, hit that notification bell so we have to come looking for you. You don't have to come looking for us. You know when we are uploading every single time. It helps out everybody in that regard. And also, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about the game. Let us know if you agree or disagree with anything that we are saying. Also, give any kind of constructive criticisms that you may have about the show, anything that you'd like to see us do moving forward. And with that, I will throw it over to Joe, as I'm always joined by Chai Sports fan Joe. Joe, great win tonight.
Yeah, no, Kyle, it was definitely stellar. I mean, Lankinen really, he keeps, in the games he's played well. I mean, he's really taken it a notch above, each and every time. And it's, 41 saves shutout, give him all the credit in the world. I mean, this kid continues to impress, and the penalty kill going, I think it was 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 tonight. That really helped. I mean, like I said, the Hawks didn't play their best games, especially in the first and second periods. But like I said, they found a way to get it done, and credit especially Lankinen for the win tonight. Shutting out a very good Panthers team.
Yeah, he definitely, I think, is the reason that they were able to pick up the victory tonight. And obviously, a huge 2 points here with Columbus losing in overtime. So they picked up a point. So the Hawks did extend their lead over Columbus to now 3 points. And Dallas also picking up a victory over Tampa Bay tonight. So the Hawks keeping pace with everybody for the playoffs and getting a smidgen of a little bit more cushion on the Blue Jackets. And a very big series coming up here this weekend, which we'll get to in a little bit. But sticking on to the task at hand with the game tonight, Patrick Kane doing his thing again, picked up a goal and assist for another 2-point night. Um, yeah, and I think a great game all around, a physical game. Zadorov was in the action with a big hit on Patrick Hornquist, knocked him out of the game. Clean hit, by the way. I know anytime there's a big hit anymore, everyone just assumes it's an illegal check to the head or something, which is getting annoying. But yeah, clean hit, stupid penalty before it, but definitely stuff you like seeing from Zadorov. Carpenter was big with the hits tonight. Murphy, too, was all over, saving a goal at the end of the game, getting Lankin in the shutout. Pius Suter, a really nice play after a great passing effort between Kane and DeBrincat. I think it went off Suter's skate, the pass from DeBrincat, and he went down to at least one knee, I think, and corralled the puck back to his stick, knocked it in the open net. Great play there.
Yeah, and this is after going 6 straight without a point. So now he's got goals in back-to-back games, which I believe puts him at 10. And it looks like I'm reading here, he became the fifth Hawk this season to hit the double-digit mark in goals, joining Yanmark, Kubalik, Kane, and DeBrincat.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too because I thought about that as well when I seen that he hit the 10-goal mark. Um, Obviously, the Hawks lack that elite scorer to go with DeBrincat and Kane. Um, but it's nice to see that they have that offense that they can get once they get those star players, whether it just be from a Doc or a Taves coming back, but also I assume that they will add also in the coming years here. I think it really, you look for bright spots through this season. I think that's one. They're going to have a balanced offense. So in theory, you should have four lines that eventually will be able to put the puck in the net. So that's definitely a nice development, I think, with this team this season. Um, I do want to talk about the David Camp, Kubalik, Hagel line again. And shout out to, I believe it's Austin, is it Purdue? No, he's with On Tap, I believe, with the Four Feathers podcast. I seen he put it out, but that line, and I think it was about 8 minutes and 40 seconds, didn't have a single shot on goal. And, I've been talking about the last at least 2 games, maybe longer. Why is David Camp still centering Hagel and Kubalik? Like, I don't understand. I Kurashev tonight played a grand total of 8 minutes, and I know he had some bad plays at least in the first period or so, but still, like, I don't know what they're doing with.
Are we talking about? Do you think you want to swap Kurashev with Camp?
Well, not necessarily, but it's just you've got so many other centers, right? So Suter's obviously starting to gel again with Kane and DeBrincat. And obviously, that's why I think maybe when Doc comes back, you put Doc where Camp is. But even before Doc comes back, you've got Kurashev, you've got Strome, you've got Soderberg. Like, I would take any of those three with that line over Camp. And again, it's not a knock on Camp. He just doesn't have any skill. He had 3 shots tonight, which, I mean, cool, but there's no skill with that shot. And you don't want Camp shooting the puck. Not on that line. You want Kubalik shooting the puck. And Kubalik had a whole 1 shot on goal tonight. I think Hagel, had 1 or 2 with the empty net goal, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not even really a shot. So, yeah, like, if you've got 3 shots on your line and it's all coming from David Camp, and that line includes Kubalik and Hagel, I guess 4 shots, excuse me. That's not good. You want Kubalik shooting, obviously, and even Hagel. I think there was that great passing play, right? And I think Camp was on the ice for that, so they just didn't connect because Ekblad poke checked the puck with a great stick work on the back end with Hagel's pass to Kubalik, but it was just like, and I'm constantly reminded, and I really like those two together. I really do. I think that's why it's like I really wish they had a better center between them. So I feel like if you could get that line to score, like, it's not scoring. Yes, every now and then, Hagel works his butt off, makes a great play, and Kubalik kind of gets a tap in goal or a great passing play goal. But I just feel like if you had another skilled center between those two with size, that you could really get that line going. And if you get that line going, it changes the complexities of the game. And that's what I think maybe people miss. People focus on stats so much, which, stats are great, but they're very I guess deceiving characteristic of balance of a lineup and how a game is going or how well players are doing. I Kubalik's been fine. He's got good stats this year, but if you had him with better players, he'd have hopefully better stats. He should have better stats than he has right now. So, and Hagel too. I think Hagel definitely is somebody who you can expect an uptick with production. So I don't know what the thinking is there. I really don't. And I know Kane had a pretty egregious turnover off the boards. I don't know. Was that in the 3rd period or the 2nd period in his own end?
Yeah, I think it was the 3rd period.
It was pretty bad. I think Murphy helped him out. But and that made me think, well, I keep going back. They must want Camp there because, Kubalik sucks defensively. But you got Hagel with him. Like, at a certain, like, if you're that worried about Kubalik, maybe you should get rid of Kubalik, kind of thing. Like if he's that much of a detriment that you have to have a babysitter on the line, there's a problem. And maybe it's because Camp is from the Czech Republic, so they can maybe communicate better. I don't know. They're
Yeah.
always talking about Colleton being a communicator and he listens and all this stuff. Maybe Kubalik asked for Camp. I don't know. But even if that's the case, it's like, okay, but you're the coach and you have to make the decision as to what gives you a better shot at producing offense. And Camp's just not that guy. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's more of definitely more of a bottom six,
And
you know.
a very good one. Like
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shit on Camp. He's just being utilized in a role he's not good for. And it's I don't know what the insistence on having him there is. And they obviously they had him between Kane and DeBrincat, and that didn't work either. So I don't know. But that line, when it was together, didn't generate a single shot on goal in about 9 minutes of ice time. So, half of a period. That's unacceptable for your second line. And again, going back to Kurashev, he only played 8 minutes tonight. Is that really developing him? Again, if there's one knock that I have with Colleton, it's ice management. Like, again, I had someone, listener of the show, DM me and ask me about Ian Mitchell. And I what my thoughts were. And I said, I like him. I think he's going to be a good player. I wish he'd get more ice time. Again tonight, played 12 minutes. We talked about on the last review. We'd like to see him more on the PK. And he got another 10 seconds on the PK tonight. At least Zadorov played a full 2 minutes tonight on the PK, so that was nice to see. At least somebody other than Keith and Murphy got some time. But, I like they have to know DeHaan is gone at this point, you would think. And if you're looking at a big picture, why aren't you playing guys that are going to be put in that role, in that position? Like,
Yeah, and I don't know if you wonder if it was just because, you're playing a team like Florida, you need more of your quote unquote top guys playing more of the minutes versus the guys that are still developing. But I mean,
yeah,
maybe
I
we'll,
mean, I
we'll see
thought
if
of that, right? Because you're trying to win the game and to get into the playoffs. But the problem I have with that, though, is, and we've talked about it, right? If you get into the playoffs, you're going to get fucking Tampa Bay or any of these other huge teams. Probably going to be either Carolina or Tampa Bay, most likely Tampa Bay. You'll be lucky if you win one game. So while while you're trying to make the playoffs, and I understand that, and to win games, isn't it kind of more important long term to like develop your players? Like that's what because I was thinking about, well, why aren't they playing Mitchell there? They don't trust him. They're trying to, win the game or, pick up points, yada, yada, yada. And I don't know. I just feel like, I mean, look what's happened, right? When they've given players a shot. Lankinen was not even on the roster opening night. Now he's the starting goaltender. Got his second shutout of his career. 12th win, I believe. I mean, the Hawks have 16 wins. He's got 12 of them. Wasn't even on the opening night roster. Hagel, probably the biggest surprise after Lankinen, for most people anyway. And he wasn't on the opening night roster either. Kurashev didn't play opening night. Like all these young players that have come in and made huge strides. Bodan, they've all made names for themselves when you've given them the opportunity to play. So I just don't know like what, like they're gonna make mistakes, obviously. I don't know. It just seems like they're maybe sacrificing development for short-term success, if you will. Like, and invariably somebody will make the argument, well, you want them to get the playoff experience, being in the playoffs. Sure, but still, and I still hold this even about last year's playoffs. The Hawks kind of screwed themselves, by beating Edmonton. Like, you lost out on a higher draft pick, and not just a higher draft pick, but higher draft picks throughout the draft. And on top of that, like, I don't care what anybody says, but this isn't real playoff hockey yet. Until it's a full fucking building, it's not playoff hockey. It might have some more intensity, sure, than it does in the regular season. And, that's the thing that I've been thinking about too a lot. And I'll get your opinion on this, Joe. But what's going to happen when these young players that have come in this year, when they're put into a full building of fans and you've got 22,000 people screaming and yelling? Like,
Well, I think it could benefit. I mean, I think obviously with having the home side on,
yeah,
the home fans, it's going to probably benefit them.
right,
But going into an opposing building, it might. I'm sure it'll be a little bit intimidating at first.
right.
But
Well,
when you're
and
out there playing, I think it's just it's you kind of you drown that out a little bit. I mean for maybe more for like a guy like Lankinen, who, all right, if he lets up a bad goal or if he lets, whatever the case may be, the rails kind of come off a little bit, and then maybe sometimes the fans get in their heads. But other times, players, they feed off that. They it makes them, you know
yeah, it makes them better. But
better, yeah. So it could go one. It's like always a 50-50. It could go one way or it could go the other. It all depends. But I think especially, with the fans that have been, so great at the United Center for, 500 straight sellouts during a normal year, I think it'll do wonders for them. But I think going into an opposing building, you know, uh,
yeah, I'm more talking about the opposing building.
yeah.
Like, I
So
just
oh, go ahead.
well, I just worry about, I guess maybe I'm overblowing it, but to me, the playoffs, well, even I guess even in your own building, because the jitters are there, right? Like, just like, and everybody talks about it, like with the anthem at the UC and how it's so noticeable that that's not there. You get jitters, it gets you amped up, whatever it is. And that's my, I guess my point about the playoffs is that's the atmosphere. Like, when you're in a building in front of a sold out crowd and they're on the edge of their seat, if you got teams going back and forth, if a post is hit, a big hit, something's going on, doesn't even necessarily have to be a goal, big save, whatever it is. And just that electricity that's in the atmosphere in those games, like, they're they didn't experience that. The few rookies they have that were in the bubble last year, they didn't experience that. They're not going to experience it this year, even if they have fans in the building. Let's be real. This is going to be, 20,000 seat Civic Centers. They're going to have, I don't know, for the playoffs in Florida, maybe 6 or 7,000 people there. So it's not even half full. I mean, and you like this, that's hockey. Like, one of the ways I fell in love with hockey was when I went, like, it's one thing to watch it on television, but when you actually go to a game, it's like, and if you have never been to a game and you're listening to this, you have to go, because
Right.
everything is just on another level. You've got the electricity from the building and the fans,
The pace.
the
Yeah.
pace, you get the sounds, the smells. Like, you can smell, if you're down in the lower bowl, you can smell the ice. Like, there's a distinct even if you're like, if you've played hockey, there's a distinct smell when you play hockey. And it's, most people would probably say it's a pungent smell, but it's a smell nonetheless of like sweat, ice, and like mildew from like pads that have been soaked with sweat. And it's, and then you throw in, if you're in the stands, right, the popcorn, food, beverages, whatever that, may be. It's just, that's the, and the hits and everything, and the
It's just
crowd
such a fast,
reactions.
everybody says like, yeah, I know that, people that watch it on TV, they're like, boy, this isn't that all it's made out to be. But when you go see it in person, yeah, I mean, it's like apples and oranges. It's a
Yeah, there
completely
is no sport that is even close to
right,
hockey live. It's,
right.
it's or the playoffs for that matter. I mean,
So,
baseball tries in the playoffs, but like, it's, when I go to Wrigley Field, I'm going there to chill. I'm not really going, like, if the Cubs win, cool, it's a benefit. But usually I'm going there to like drool over hot chicks, drink beer, and have some fucking hot dogs. Like, I'm not going there to really watch the Cubs play baseball that much. I'm just going to get some sun and have a good time. But uh and I'm not a fan of football, and I haven't been to a pro football game, so I'll not comment. But basketball, in my opinion, the NBA has been a joke since like 2003, 2004. Like, the Michael
yeah,
Jordan.
for me, it's when Jordan left the Bulls. That's kind of
Yeah, like the NBA, to me, it's like reality TV now more than it is a sports league. So that, like, to me, I don't know about Joe, but I'm a two sport guy. I got my baseball in the summer and spring, and I got hockey in the fall and winter. And
yeah. I'm more of yeah. I mean, I'm hockey first, baseball second,
eh,
football third. So
yeah, that's
um,
probably how I am. But like, hockey is just, it's a next level. Like, it's, I don't know. And I guess that's what I'm like, that experience and that feeling that you get from going or being, whether you're there playing or in the stands, you can feel it. And I don't know. Like, and there is, like Joe said, some players get up from that. Like, to me, when I see, and I've talked about this before, it really bothers me when Blackhawks fans get on Twitter or social media and start going after the fans in Nashville for their goalie chants. And it's like, but that's what makes it fun. Like, what? Well, it's not a professional. You don't do that in the NHL. It's like, that's atmosphere. Like, that the fact they've got their own goal song and they're yelling at the goalie, and like it's just like at Wrigley Field, right? Where the players get to know the bleacher bums and you're jawing out there. I mean, the goalies do that too with the people on the glass. I mean, that's part of the fun of the game. It's not, the fans that are like all up in arms about stuff like that, like, need to, I don't know, get something out of their behind, because to me that's fun. The trash talk is part of the game. It's just, we don't need to get into the shit that went down with the officials and the guy getting fired, but like, these people that are around the game, that have played, that watch the game, everybody knows this stuff goes on. Like this, whether it's the trash talk, whether it's referees making up calls, people have known this for decades. Like, this isn't new shit.
yeah.
And it's, I don't know. Like, I even tweeted out the other day about the ref thing. It's like, all these beat writers that are capitalizing on this story, none of these fucking guys knew who this referee was until 15 hours ago. And they're sitting here, oh, yeah, man, this guy's been making bad calls for 3 or 4 years. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Even Ben Pope's been, I don't know what his, like, he's been shit for like 2 months now, which is saying something because he was one of the better ones, I thought, for the beat. But like, he's like, yeah, that was a bad call on, I think, the tripping call that Kane got, earlier in the game tonight. He's like, "Yeah, that was a Tim. That wasn't as bad as Tim Peel's call against Nashville." It's like, we gonna hear about this now for the? It's like, I don't know about you, Joe. That Joe's played like I have, but it's like when these beat reporters or these people in the press get wind of like a slang term in the game, and then it's all they use. It's like the bumper roll on the power play. Never heard it. Never heard it. And then a coach says bumper roll. Oh my God, they all use it now. It's like, oh, we got to use this. It makes it sound more intelligent. Like we know what we're talking about. Or calling the puck the biscuit or whatever. It's just like, anyway. But yeah, so I guess back to my point. I just worry about them not having, like, somebody asked Lankinen today. I don't know who it was because I didn't pay much attention to the post game tonight. But somebody asked him what if he had thought about being in a full UC, and he said yes. And it's like, I imagine that'd be pretty cool. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But like, there is something to them not having full buildings during these seasons. So I'm going to be very curious if the government ever allows us to have a full building again without wearing a mask, um, whether they'll be able to handle it at first. I definitely expect the nerves to be up there, but yeah. Um, that was a long-winded rant that all began with Ian Mitchell. Yeah, but
But as far as I mean, I think because I mean we put the emphasis on the penalty kill and the goaltending tonight. Um, what do you think we need to kind of nip in the bud a little bit for the next game against Nashville?
oh, I think Colleton called it turnovers, stupid
Yeah.
turnovers. The 3-on-0, which we haven't talked about yet. Result, I think that was a Murphy turnover, wasn't it?
Yes. Or no, yes, the Murphy one, was 3-0, but then the Boquist, I remember, keep the puck bounced over his stick or whatever, and that led to another odd man rush.
Yeah, we talked about Kane having one in his own end, Boquist having one, then the Murphy issue with the 3-on-0, and yeah, I think so. Colleton had mentioned he didn't like the second period. Um, Kind of blurs together a little bit, but um, throughout the game, and they do make a lot of stupid turnovers. Like Colleton tried to defend it, saying it was uncharacteristic. I don't know if I agree with that. Like they do make a lot of dumb decisions. Even Dehan tonight, who they couldn't say anything bad about. Like in the first period, he had pinched, and thankfully, I don't know, like it didn't turn into anything. But I was watching it and I'm like, dude, you're like 10 feet from the blue line pinching, and there's two guys behind you. That's not good. And the puck, he missed the puck basically. And the puck got behind him, and then there's two guys. I don't know who was back. I know he was paired with Boquist, I think, tonight, which is interesting. But yeah, and that's kind of a dangerous. I know we've talked about it before about Boquist being with Dehan. I like it better, I guess, more than Murphy and Dehan, or the vets together as we've talked about. But I don't know. It's weird, and that just begs the question: if you're putting, I guess Mitchell was with Keith. What I don't.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know why they're not giving Mitchell more ice time. Like and especially with his skating, like he's a really good skater. Uh, I I I don't know. Like maybe they're just trying not to like ease him in, but we're at game 34 in the season now, so it's like shouldn't the training wheels kind of be coming off?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Uh, I don't know what they're doing with him. Maybe they don't think as highly of him as we do. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, and Zadorov again going back to Zadorov. Do you think he takes stupid penalties? Because I started seeing, like, it seems to me like the fans just try to find anything they can to crap on him, whether it's turnovers, whether it's him getting caught slew footed because of his size. And now it seems it's like it's penalties. Oh, he's always taking a stupid penalty. And I sat here and I'm like, I tried to think to myself, I'm like, well, was he ever really taking a stupid penalty like tonight? Like maybe once, twice, maybe in 34 games. So 3 times. Like, I, I don't know if that's, I don't know. I think Zadorov's becoming one of my favorite players, honestly. Like, he's big, he's got size, he hits. Like, I think he's actually getting better defensively a little bit. His technical work with like his stick. And so, like, there was a play, I think, in the third period tonight. I don't know who it was, but they were coming up the boards. And I think the Hawks failed to clear, actually. And whoever it was with the Panthers had it, and they were carrying it up the boards. And Zadorov turned around. Carpenter had him, but Zadorov turned around and did like a C cut, got around, had his stick, just that length of his stick takes away the passing lanes of their player, and then Carpenter did the rest and then skated the puck out. And I noticed Foley was, oh, Ryan Carpenter, what a game he's had, another great play. And it's like, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I'm giving credit to Zadorov there because Zadorov boxed him in.
Right.
If Zadorov didn't circle back, Carpenter, might get a body on him or something. But all the passing lanes are there, and the guy could have dumped it in behind the net or ran it around the boards or whatever. But um, yeah, I don't know what the hate is on him, other than again they just are mad that who he was traded for.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, he's a big body. He's a big, he's gonna win battles down low and in front of the net. And yeah, I mean, he took a stupid penalty tonight, no question about that. But again, we're more in on Zadorov for the size and the ability to win puck battles more so than we are, you know, for the turnovers or penalties sometimes he commits. I mean, they're all human, so they're all going to make mistakes. But I know sometimes I agree, Kyle, that, Zadorov's kind of get magnified a little bit more than other players.
Yeah. We didn't talk about Carpenter and Uyghur having a scrap. Uh, wasn't much of a scrap, really. Uh,
Why did Uyghur come after him? Was I didn't maybe I
well,
missed.
yeah. So he hit somebody,
Okay.
and it was kind of a side swipe against the boards. Like it wasn't. I don't think it was that bad of a hit, but it seems like maybe it's just because of the rivalries getting it going because of all the games we're having against teams, especially this is what our fourth game or third game against them in a week, something like that, 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know. He took exception to that hit, and then they were scuffling, right? And then I think Uyghur's dropped his gloves already, so Carpenter just said, "Well, fuck it," and Uyghur didn't even think landed a punch. Really, he just kind of had Carpenter wrapped up, and Carpenter started throwing bombs, and then at the very end again, just like Hagel and Line, I swear if Uyghur wasn't wearing a helmet, dude might have been TKO'd, and he was going down too when that punch landed. So, we don't, unfortunately, we don't see fights as much as we used to.
No, no.
Do you like that? Like, would you like to see fighting get a little bit more?
I would, but it's like, I mean, now with the NHL and this concussions and everything, so it's like now, is it a rule that you have to have your helmet on when you're fighting? Is that what they
No,
man?
I thought it was actually a rule that you had to take it off
Okay,
because they're
because
worried.
I
They're
mean, I
worried
very
about.
rarely do I see these players fighting without the helmet on anymore. So, it's always that they got their helmet on, and I thought maybe that was the NHL. Okay, well, if you're going to fight, you got to keep your helmet on.
No,
So,
well, at
but
least from what I remember, and again, this is, I guess, maybe back when they were doing all the rule changes like 10, 12 years ago after the lockout. I was thinking that the rule was is that you had to take the helmet off because they were worried about players hurting their hands when you throw a fist. Because now they're required to wear visors, right? And there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong there. You can break a hand, I mean, I guess you can do that anyway in a fight, but it's more, you're punching, I don't know what, hard plastic with those helmets, and then with those plastic visors, that's not good. And then if your hand or fist gets stuck with that visor and stuff, that's one of the bad things about visors with high sticking. In a
yeah,
lot of ways, the visors have made high sticking worse because the stick can get caught up in the visor. uh I've almost I I understand why they don't have full face shields, having played, because it fogs up, obviously. But it almost would feel like if you're going to force them to wear a visor, that maybe they should just wear a full face shield or something. But yeah, I don't know. I wish there was a little bit more fighting. But I made the comment that I think if you're a opposing team, you probably don't want to fight the Blackhawks because it seems like at least Hagel and Carpenter have pretty much knocked. I mean, they've dominated their fights, to say the least. And from what I remember about because Zadorov did have a fight, if I recall, and I don't think it was, maybe a draw at the worst for him. Like, I know he didn't lose it, so I don't know. I just we've been wanting to see more toughness out of them, especially who were we playing before Florida that was taking runs? Oh, it was Tampa.
yeah,
Tampa was
Tampa.
running everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just would like to see them be a little bit more physical and have the fisticuffs and stuff. That, and to me, that adds an element to the game. But
No,
I under
I enjoy the fights, but especially it can kind of change the momentum in a game if you're either, if you're down or you need kind of the spark to kind of ignite the team. A fight kind of does that, but
Yeah, and
I mean,
especially like if you feel like the other team's kind of taking advantage of shit, like if they're giving you cheap shots, or I don't know, like it, especially again going back to like a full crowd, and if you're on home ice, like if your team's struggling in some aspect and you feel like you're in sludge or whatever and you can't get much going, and maybe the other team's fucking around or taking runs and shit. If you can get like Andrew Shaw or somebody that really can get the crowd pumped up, and then even after the fight that, gestures toward the crowd or whatever, and you get them pumped up and amped up, that amps up everybody, including the team. So I don't know. I understand where they want to obviously lower the concussions and CTE and stuff, but like, you're just at a certain point, you're just ruining the game. Like, it's a risk you take it playing. Like, these guys are getting, I mean, it's not like the NFL where they're getting paid fucking $30 million, but they're getting paid millions of dollars over their career. I can't say I feel all that bad for them. That they're getting concussed or whatever. I mean, I think Joe and I both would probably say, well, you can be in the NHL for 10 years and make, $30 million over the course of your career. You might get some concussions, though, maybe even severely. Are you up for it? I would be.
Yeah.
For $30 million?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Run me over with a car. Why do I sign up? But yeah, so that was nice to see, I guess, because we just don't see it anymore. God, I don't know what these people would do if they saw the old beer leagues back in the 90s, or even the 80s for that matter. It was probably even worse. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much more to say about the game that I can think of. I thought they need to clean up some turnovers, obviously, going into the big series with Nashville coming up. What did you think about them taking Entwistle out for Highmore?
I was kind of surprised, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like, yeah,
Honestly, like at this point, so Highmore played 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes. I think Entwistle played six something the other day, Tuesday. So I know you don't like this, and a lot of fans don't like this, but wouldn't at this if that's all they're gonna play, wouldn't you just rather play another seventh defenseman? Like, because the forward isn't playing, whether it's Johnson, Highmore, Entwistle, they're playing like 5 minutes, 6 minutes a game. So if that's all they're gonna play, wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't you be better off playing Kalanick or Bodan and getting them 10 minutes a game?
yeah, no, I agree.
Like, it just seems like for development that would be more beneficial, I guess. I don't know. Especially considering one of them will be in the lineup next year, theoretically. Maybe both of them, depending. But
But do you think Lankinen gets to start Saturday?
yep, coming off the shutouts and then a stellar stellar game Tuesday. We had like a 9:43 on Tuesday, I think. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so I expect him to start Saturday. Um, you get back into an interesting conundrum too. I think if they lose Saturday, I don't know if you can if you want to start Subban on Sunday. Theoretically, you do because it's a back to back. But this is I mean, we haven't talked about this on the podcast yet, but this is a really big series, uh, games coming up. If the Predators win both games, they're tied with the Blackhawks for the final playoff spot. If the Blackhawks win both games, it pushes the Predators 8 points back. So it's a big series for both teams. They've got the same amount of games played. The Predators have been on the upswing. So honestly, I might even consider just fucking rolling with Lankin in both games. I know we talked about playing Subban, obviously, because we're on a back to back. But with the way Lankinen's playing, and if he has another if he gets another shutout or if he has another 930 plus save percentage game on Saturday, I think I might start him again Sunday because, again, he hasn't played in a back to back. Eventually, he's going to have to, you would think, over the course of his career. So I'd much rather get him used to it now when he's younger, right? And
right.
uh, just because these games are so important, because this is a team that you're fighting with for that playoff spot. I mean, this is kind of your opportunity to kind of knock them out. Because if they're 8 points back, if you win both games, Like, what do they have? How many games are left? So there's 56 games. Um, they've played 34 like the Hawks. So there'll be 20 games left in the season. So 8 points is 4 games out of those 20. That's that's a that's a nice cushion for Chicago.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know. What do you think about that? Would you, if you win? Well, I guess it goes either way. If you win, because like if you lose Saturday, Sunday's must win. I mean, both are kind of must win, but Sunday definitely if you lose Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, the key is to just try to get points any way you can. And I mean, I think we're a better team than Nashville. Um,
Yeah, but we haven't beaten them yet.
yeah. So hopefully, like I said, if we play the way we got to just stay out of the box, number one, because I mean, regardless, we dodged bullets tonight going
Yeah, well,
five.
I guess we didn't talk about that. They can't take 6 penalties again.
Right. So, um, but I mean, and then capitalizing on the power plays and just limiting the amount of chances in our own end, and and which Lincoln's done, just like I said, he's made big save after big save. And when you see when you got that much confidence in your goaltender, it helps because I mean, he bailed out Murphy tonight big time with 3-0, and he bailed out Boquist when when the puck jumped over his stick and that allowed the odd man rush. So that speaks volumes from Kevin Lincoln. And I think when you see him, like I said, make those big saves like that, it sparks the team. So
Did you listen to any of the post game?
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so did you hear Colleton really praise him, Lankinen?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was nice, and I think
Right.
that really gives you an indication that Lankinen's the guy.
Right.
Like
Right.
Colleton likes him, so that's obviously good. Obviously, Colleton has favorites on the team. Everyone knows that. See David Camp. Um, so I don't know. Would you it either way? Would you play in both games or would you still switch?
Yeah, see maybe how it goes Saturday. If things go awry, then maybe you go with Subban Sunday. But if it goes the way it went tonight, then I think you put him right back out there on Sunday.
Yeah, well, I think if he gets a shutout, you have to keep riding him. But um, I think I just think either way, which sucks because it doesn't. Who's coming up after? Isn't Carolina after the
Carolina, yeah. Hmm.
I guess maybe Subban gets Carolina one game. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I just feel like
But knowing Colleton, and I think
yeah,
Subban
he'll probably
play
get Subban will
play
probably
Sunday.
play
Yeah.
one. Yeah,
So,
but
but
I just feel like if I'm the coach, like you're not catching Carolina, so I'd be much more willing to use my weaker goalie in those games than against the Predators, who I need to beat. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. No, I agree.
But anyway, um, is there anything else about the game or the upcoming series with Nashville that you want to talk about?
Not really. No, I just
Do you
keep
think we
playing.
see Doc? We haven't. I guess that's the thing. We haven't talked about Doc.
Yeah, it seems like he's close, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, if we see him, hopefully maybe this weekend or sometime next week.
Well,
So
I guess so. If Doc comes into the lineup, that answers this. If you can forget the seventh defenseman, right? Because he'll be
right.
taking that roster spot away from Highmore / et al. Um, yeah, I don't know. So Colleton's they're obviously being very vague. I know I've told you I've thought from the get go this was the series to get him in against Nashville. Um, and again, they're games you need to win, and he's one of your better theoretically, he's one of your better players. So if he's cleared, I think you gotta play him. Or you would want to. But they keep saying, "Well, we want to rev him up with conditioning and stuff," and it's like, fuck that. Play him.
Right.
Nothing gets you better in shape than playing in games. See Carl Soderberg. But yeah, we'll see. It definitely seems like our speculation about a Rockford stint isn't happening. Seems like he's going to come in right away when he does come back. But yeah, great game, obviously. And again, excuse the pun at the end when we called it. I called it it's the Kevin Lankinen show. For those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, this is riding the pine. But I thought Kevin Lankinen deserved the honors of having his name on the show at the start. Um, Maybe his best game of the year tonight. Yeah, but hopefully, good news coming up this weekend against Nashville. Obviously, the Hawks picked up their 16th victory tonight with a 3-0 shutout over the Florida Panthers, proving their record to 16, 13, and 5 on the season. They extended their lead over Columbus for the final playoff spot by 1 point. They now have a 3-point divisional lead for the last spot over the Blue Jackets. And until next time, everybody, please stay safe, wear your masks, get your vaccinations if you can. And even if you are not eligible, and this goes for everybody, not just people in Illinois, but everywhere. Every or most of these shots are what's the word I'm thinking of here? Perishable. So, in the event that they don't have enough people to get vaccinated, you can call them at your pharmacies or your testing, not testing centers, but vaccination centers. And if they have extra, you can get yours. So, don't be afraid to call to get your vaccinations because, like I said, they are perishable, and the pharmacies and vaccination centers would much rather you get the vaccination than having to throw it away. Um, so please do so. I know everybody wants to get back to normal. Me and Joe were just going on a rant about everything going on before we jumped on the podcast here. So please, everybody, do your part and also check in on your friends, loved ones, do all that good stuff. And yeah, uh, we will see you on Sunday morning. Going to be a lot of content coming at you fast and heavy with this back-to-back game coming up here. So, yeah, we'll say, I guess, good morning, everybody, and we'll talk to everybody soon. So, until next time, let's go Hawks.
Yeah. Thanks again, everybody. Go Hawks.